Hi, this is going to be a quick update on the Specna Arms H04, some of the changes I've done to it, as well as a few problems I've encountered on the way. First of all, this isn't quite finished yet. I need to get a new air nozzle as well as adjust the shimming slightly. Just going to test it quickly on the 7.4. Doesn't sound quite right. Part of that is actually to do with the motor noise. So I've tried a different motor that I had. It sounds slightly better, but also it needs to have the shimming adjusted slightly as well. One of the first ones I'm going to talk about is to do with the motor grip. Obviously this isn't the original one here, that is this one here. The problem I had was, weirdly enough, the angle of the motor wasn't sitting in there quite right. So what I've got here is another exact motor that's exactly the same. This is the Specna Arms M130, which is exactly what's in this pistol grip now. And if you look at the top here, obviously it's just normal kind of straight. But when it was in the Gearbox shell, which I'll demonstrate with this one, the motor was sitting tilted like that slightly, so slightly forward, and it grinded on the back of the casing here, as well as the housing of the anti-reversal latch, causing quite a lot of noise, which is why I had to change to this pistol grip, which again isn't actually ideal either. It's quite difficult to adjust and very tight on the motor, so it's not a great pistol grip either. Here I actually have the pistol grip from my Specna Arms H416, which is actually slightly different to the one from the H04 here, which is a bit odd to begin with as well. First of all, obviously there's 4 holes for the screws on the edge pistol grip, there's only 2 on this one. Also you can see the actual hole that the motor goes through on the edge's pistol grip is kind of not contoured, but kind of got a different kind of angle to it, so the motor can go in easier. It's kind of material taken away on this side here, so the angle the motor can go in is slightly better, whereas the one on this pistol grip is completely flat. I believe that's partially why the motor doesn't seem to go in the right angle, as well as actually with the motor grip on the Gearbox, which you might be able to tell quickly if I put this one on here. You can actually, part of the Gearbox casing is visible at the back of this, which I'll just track this one here. Obviously it's not tightened in, you might be able to see, which is a bit dark though, isn't it? But you can actually see the back of the hole for the motor on the Gearbox actually at the pistol grip. So the hole, see the angle of the actual hole for the motor isn't the right kind of size on that pistol grip. You may think, why wouldn't I just put this one on, seeing as it's from the edge and it's the same, and it would obviously have that angle would be fixed. It doesn't fit. You can't get it on all the way onto this gun. There's about a gap, about 3-4 millimeters at the top. It is very strange as to why it's different. Obviously it's still a Specna Arms 416. You'd imagine they'd be exactly the same. The only difference you can tell, apart from that, and what I've mentioned already, is the one from the H04 has these little marking, like kind of seams on the circle on the top and the bottom, as well as one on the front, whereas the grip from the edge doesn't. So in all, it's just a bit nicer. So that's partly why this pistol grip is on, and why it still doesn't sound quite right as well. Secondly, which is arguably worse, is to do with the Hobbit Chamber. So this is the chamber from this gun. All in all, it's quite a nice chamber. The quality is nicer than the one on the edge. It's a similar kind of style. It's blue rotary, but it is slightly nicer than the one on the H series 416. The problem being that with the original mag release, a second mag release, and the third ambidextrous one that's in here at the moment, the magazines would not go high enough actually into the gun without actually physically holding the magazine in and pushing it upwards, for the tube on the Hobbit Chamber to actually allow the pellets out of the mag, to actually click, to kind of push in the button on the magazine to allow the pellets to come out. So obviously I tried 3 separate mag releases to try and see if that was the issue, if the issue was just this mag release, but it wasn't, because it did the exact same thing on all 3. So what I've had to do is change the Hobbit Chamber to this clear kind of dial plastic one that I had that came out of a D-Boys PW, and now it feeds perfectly every single time. Which is, again, odd. And when I played a couple of days ago, I encountered someone who had the exact same gun. It was the H07, that has a different rail system, but apart from that, it's exactly the same. And none of his mags fed at all, and he had the exact same issue. He even borrowed some of my mags, which I know to feed with this gun, with this Hobbit Chamber in it, that feed perfectly fine in here, and none of them fed at all. And even when he was pushing the mags in, he still had a bit of issue. So in all, he couldn't use the gun at all. And his was brand new, he'd bought it about a week before. So there's some kind of issue with this Hobbit Chamber, which I believe would simply be the actual length of the kind of the feeding tube bit here. If it was, say, 1 millimeter longer, this issue probably wouldn't arise. So it's a bit of an odd one there, really. But that is the issue, the 2 of the main issues I've had with this so far. But apart from those issues, which are really quite annoying and difficult to figure out, the Hobbit Chamber one being the most annoying, because this chamber itself is actually quite nice. And the gun's been performed quite well. Even with this changed barrel and hollow unit, is still fairly good. The external quality is really nice. Slightly different to the H04 I have, which I'll compare properly in another video. But all in all, apart from those 2 issues, it is a good gun. It's just unfortunate that those 2 issues are fairly major, especially the hop-up issue. They've kind of brought this gun to a downfall, really. In my next video, I'm going to compare this H04 to the H21 Edge, talk about some of the differences and similarities, as well as what I like and dislike about the 2 of them, in regards to the way they're made, as well as just features about them in general. If you have any questions about the whole issue or the motor or the gun in general, just leave a comment and I'll try and get back to you. Thank you.